Did you know that Gen saved the Kingdom of Science before he was even depetrified? Let's talk about it. So I've been sort of rewatching Dr. Stone since it ended, and one of my favorite details actually happens within the first 5 episodes of the series, and that is where before Gen has even been depetrified, he already saves the entire group, specifically Senku. Now let's go back to the very beginning of Dr. Stone. Tsukasa kills Senku, right? He kills Senku by, I think it was like slicing his cervical nerve. And the reason that Tsukasa decides to take out Senku that way specifically is because the entire time that Tsukasa has been depetrified, Senku has been like cracking his neck and stuff, which partially, at least in that scene right before Tsukasa attacks Senku and ends up killing him, he's trying to draw Tsukasa's attention to his neck, which would basically make Tsukasa decide to kill Senku in that manner. So Tsukasa does end up slicing that. Taiju and Yuzuriha, they do this little thing. And then they take Senku's body and they're like, oh hell no, Senku's dead. Or rather, they kind of do believe that Senku's alive, but it's more like blind faith. They don't have any idea of how to actually save him or resuscitate him. So like, technically they're like, no, we have to find a way, but it's like, you could kind of tell in this moment they're kind of accepting it. It, as in the fact that they might not be able to bring him back. Because they are not aware of the fact that Senku was driving attention to his neck on purpose. They do not know that yet. If you remember, Senku had a small piece of petrified like hair at the very back of his neck, right around where the cervical nerve would be. And as we know, the revival fluid in petrification has healing properties. It restores like the matter around the area after it gets depetrified. And Senku left a piece of petrification fragment right there so that, you know, if he drew attention to it, when Tsukasa sliced it, he'd be able to then get depetrified, which would restore that area and then bring him back to life. Now, obviously, Tsukasa did not know that, that's why he chose to slice there, but also Taiju and Yuzuriha did not know that. That is until Yuzuriha says, Senku sacrificed himself for me. And the goat Taiju has a flashback to the other goat, Asagiri Gen. Not actually, but kind of. Taiju basically thinks back to the scene in which Senku and Yuzuriha and Taiju are all in high school, right? And this random is reading Gen's magic psychology book. Because remember, before the petrification, Gen used to write like these trashy magic psychology, like, oh, what would you do in this kind of, you know what I mean? Like those kind of books. So it's Taiju, Yuzuriha, Senku, and this random who's reading the book. And the random is basically like,
check out this psychology quiz. There's been a tragic accident, and between your friend, your lover, and yourself, only one of you can be saved. Who would you choose?
Now Taiju and Yuzuriha are like, oh, I don't know what I'd pick, but Senku's like, everyone. I'd save everyone.
I'd choose everyone. I'd look for a fundamental rule. It'd let me save all of us.
Now Taiju thinks back to that, and he goes, Senku wouldn't sacrifice himself for you. Senku would try to find a way to save everyone.
Senku wouldn't go the suicide route. He wouldn't sacrifice anyone. He would stake the whole game on the chance to save us all. We have to figure out what he was thinking.
Now why did Taiju have that thought? Because he thought back to the question that was in Gen's book. But the question and that thought would not have been had if not for the fact that it was read from Gen's book. So if Gen didn't write that book, / if it wasn't released under his name, then they never would have known that, which would mean that Taiju wouldn't have had that idea. But after Taiju and Yuzuriha realized that, like, oh, Senku would never sacrifice himself, they then discover the petrification fragment and then save Senku's life. But they never would have discovered the petrification fragment if not for Gen's book. Meaning that before Asagiri Gen even stepped foot into the stone world, he was already the GOAT. Now, in my opinion, I think that this is a really fun inclusion to have. It's so smart. It's a fantastic piece of foreshadowing, not only for the fact that, like, oh, Gen is going to come back, but also for the fact that he is going to become a member of the Kingdom of Science. Before he was even introduced, he had already saved the Kingdom of Science, because the Kingdom of Science would not exist without Senku. So in theory, Gen had already saved it before it had even really started, which, when you think of the story on a broader scale and all of the good that Gen ends up doing throughout the entire story and how many times he comes in clutch and saves all of them, it makes a lot of sense. Like, I just think that's so smart that before he was even there, he was already saving the group. It's just, I rewatched Dr. Stone probably 3 times already, but fourth rewatch I'm going into here. I'm noticing a lot of details that I haven't yet noticed before, so I'm probably gonna make a couple of videos about it because I refuse to let Dr. Stone die. Not happening. Anyways, let me know what you guys think. Comment your thoughts down below, and if you haven't, watch Dr. Stone. I'll see you in the next one.